In a world built on appearances, power doesn't belong to the smartest or the most talented. It belongs to the most convincing. You could be brilliant, kind, even wise. But if you don't present yourself like someone who matters, people will treat you like you don't. Today we're fixing that. Today you'll learn how to move like a king, even if no one's put a crown on your head yet. Let me ask you something. Not as a friend, but like a strategist looking at a battlefield. When you walk into a room, what do people see? Do they notice presence? Do they feel like someone important just entered? Or do they barely notice you at all? Here's the harsh truth. People don't see who you are. They see what you project. You can be the most capable, compassionate, intelligent person in the room. But if your presence doesn't demand attention, it will be ignored. If your body language doesn't speak, your words will be dismissed. And if your energy doesn't radiate power, your intelligence is wasted. This world doesn't run on honesty. It runs on illusion. And that illusion, the image you give off, is the weapon that will either lift you up or leave you invisible. The man who understands this doesn't ask for respect. He assumes it. He doesn't enter a room hoping to be accepted. He walks in like the space belongs to him, like the air itself bends to his presence. And the sad part, even if he doesn't deserve that confidence, people still give it to him. That's the brutal logic of perception. It doesn't reward truth. It rewards performance. You've seen it before. The average guy who acts like a king, the loud fool who somehow ends up leading, the smooth talker who gets loyalty he never earned. And somewhere in the corner is the quiet genius, waiting, hoping, thinking the world is fair and that talent speaks for itself. It doesn't. Perception is power, because people don't investigate. They don't look deeply. They believe what's in front of them. If you move like someone powerful, they'll treat you like you are. But if you doubt yourself, even for a moment, they'll sense it, and they'll crush you. Power isn't just earned, it's performed. The man who walks slowly, speaks with intention, and holds eye contact without flinching, he might still be learning, but people will treat him like a master. Why? Because we're animals in suits. We still respond to signals of dominance, even if we pretend we've evolved past them. Now, maybe you're thinking, but what if I'm faking it? What if I'm not really confident? Good, that's how it starts. Every great empire begins with a belief, even if it's only a lie at first. When you act like the best, speak like a leader, carry yourself like someone who can't be challenged, people won't respond to your reality. They'll respond to your presentation. And the crazy part? If you keep doing it, your performance becomes your truth. Look at history. Julius Caesar didn't just conquer Gaul, he looked like a man destined to rule. Napoleon was short, but he stood like a giant. Machiavelli wasn't born noble, but he wrote in a voice that made kings pay attention. Why? Because they understood something powerful. How you appear is often more important than who you are. So, the next time you walk into a room, stop shrinking. When you speak, stop softening your voice. When you look at others, don't look up at them. Look through them. There are silent rules of dominance hardwired into all of us. The ones who learn them play the game. The ones who don't get played. And here's the twist. If you play the part well enough, eventually it stops being a part. People start repeating the illusion. He's confident. He's a leader. He must know something I don't. And just like that, they treat you better than you've ever been treated, until one day, you've grown into the role they imagined for you. Because in this world, you are what you show. That's the harsh law of perception. And if you ignore it, if you cling to the hope that people will see your inner goodness, your quiet wisdom, your humble intentions, you will be overlooked, outplayed, and ruled by those who only seem to be more. They didn't wait for the crown, they wore it long before it was offered. And that's what you must do. Not later, not when you feel ready. Now, confidence is a kind of spell, and when it's absolute, it overrides logic. That's why so many liars end up in charge. That's why people with nothing but ego often sit on the throne, while the truly gifted are left in the shadows, working silently. You've seen it. The loud guy who walks into the room like he owns it. He gets the attention, he gets the handshake, he gets the deal, the respect you earned but never claimed, and you're left asking, why? Why do I keep losing to men who know less, offer less, are less? The answer is simple. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait to be told they were worthy. They told the world they were, and the world believed them. They didn't ask to be validated. They validated themselves, and everyone else adapted to their illusion. Now, here's the trap. Many believe confidence should come after achievement, that it should be built on solid ground, that only once you've proven yourself can you stand tall. That sounds noble, but it's not how power works. Power doesn't reward patience, it rewards presence. When you hesitate, people don't think you're careful, they think you're insecure. When you doubt yourself, no one applauds your humility, they see prey. And when you shrink, apologize, or hold back to avoid stepping on toes, they don't respect your courtesy. They test your limits, again and again, until there's nothing left of you. Confidence is a signal. It says, I don't fear you, I'm in control, I belong at the top. And when you broadcast that message with full conviction, it flips a switch in people. It triggers respect. It triggers submission. Not because you've proven anything, but because we're still wired like animals. We submit to strength, not real strength, but the appearance of it. And nothing looks stronger than confidence that doesn't shake. Start seeing confidence like a soldier sees his weapon. It's not decoration. It's not flair. It's a tool for survival, for victory. Without it, you'll lose battles before they even begin. With it, you'll win fights you never should have won. And don't confuse confidence with noise. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about certainty. It's about walking into any space already convinced of your place in it, and making others feel that too. When you speak, speak like every word is law. When you move, move like the ground is yours. When you lock eyes, don't look away first, ever. These aren't just habits, they're rituals of psychological warfare, because every room you walk into is a silent battle for status. If you don't take your place, someone else will assign one to you, and it won't be where you belong. Let others waste time trying to prove they're worthy. You act like you already are, because if you carry yourself correctly, the illusion will do the rest. The posture sells it. The presence makes it real, and people won't question it. They'll follow it. The game isn't fair, but it's predictable. People crave direction. They want to believe in someone who seems sure of himself. And if no one around them is offering that certainty, then you must. Even if you're doubting, even if you're improvising, even if deep down you're scared, you never show that. Because the moment you do, the spell is broken, and the wolves start circling. Here's a secret most men never learn. The world doesn't care who you really are. It only cares what you show. It believes what you repeat. It accepts what you insist on, until it becomes reality. Your reputation isn't built on truth. It's built on performance. It's built on the version of you that you present so consistently. People forget to question it. If you don't define who you are, someone else will. And they'll shape your image to fit their story, not yours. Every powerful man knows this. He doesn't just exist. He builds a myth. He tells the world who he is before the world gets a chance to decide. And once that image is locked in people's minds, it's hard to shake. Because most people don't look beneath the surface. They don't ask questions. They assume. So, when you walk through life, understand this. You are not being judged by your essence. You are being judged by your signal. You might be smart, but if you don't project it, no one listens. You might be strong, but if you don't show it, no one respects you. You might have incredible value, but if you don't command attention, someone else's mediocrity will outshine your excellence. What's inside you only matters if it's expressed. That expression, your image, must be deliberate, sharp, strategic, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, but always controlled. Think about every man you admire. What do you really know about him? Not much. What you admire is the illusion, the story he told, the perception he repeated until it became accepted as truth. He said, I am a leader. And so people followed. He said, I am inevitable. And no one dared to question it. He said, I am above all this. And the world treated him like he was. That's not a lie. That's design. You don't have to fake who you are, but you do have to craft how you appear. You must cut away the parts of you that don't serve your rise. You must amplify the parts that command respect. And you must repeat your image until it's burned into the minds of everyone you meet. Never give people the full, unfiltered picture. Give them the version that secures your position. The general stands tall, the politician smiles with certainty. The king never flinches. It's theater, but it's theater that shapes reality. And that's your task. Build a myth. Shape a character so powerful, so unmistakable, that others move around you. And once it's built, never break it. Because the moment you betray that image, they won't remember your strength. They'll remember your slip, and they'll never forget it. Understand this. People don't follow the man who figures things out. They follow the man who acts like he already knows. They don't serve the man who doubts himself, even if that doubt is wise. They serve the man who speaks with conviction, even if he's wrong, and they don't fear the man who shows vulnerability too soon. They fear the man who reveals nothing and lets them imagine what he's capable of. That is power, letting others fill in the blanks with fear, with ambition, while you say almost nothing. But here's the trap. Most men wait. They wait to be recognized. They wait for confirmation. They wait for permission. But power doesn't reward humility. Power rewards those who declare themselves before anyone offers approval. You don't wait to become the best. You move like you are. You train your body, your tone, your presence to say it before your words do. And when people start saying, "He's different, he's sharp, he's a leader," they're not describing you. They're repeating what you taught them to believe. Here's the hard truth. You're not fighting to become your best self. You're fighting to be seen as the best version of yourself. And those who understand that early, they dominate. Because the world isn't waiting for the truth. It's waiting for certainty. And certainty, when repeated enough, becomes history. There's one law above all, one force more powerful than luck, talent, or intelligence. Assumption. The man who assumes he is powerful, he begins to act like it. The man who assumes he's irrelevant, he fades. The world will treat you exactly the way you believe it should, because you don't become what is true. You become what you accept. Every movement you make, every word you speak, radiates from one core assumption, and that assumption writes your story. If you assume you are less, you'll walk small, speak soft, seek permission, and the world will respond accordingly, not because it's true, but because you broadcasted it. Your posture says, "I don't matter." Your silence says, "You're above me." Your doubt becomes a signal, and the world obeys that signal. But there is another kind of man. He assumes he's the most dangerous presence in the room. He assumes his voice matters. He assumes people want to hear from him. And from that assumption, he moves differently. He speaks with command. He looks people in the eye. He takes space without hesitation. And here's the terrifying part. People start to treat him accordingly, because the world doesn't investigate who you are. It reflects what you project. And assumption is the script it reads from. Why do some men rise with no real substance? Why do people follow leaders with no depth, no wisdom? Because confidence is not drawn from evidence. It's drawn from belief. And belief, when repeated enough, becomes reality, both in the mind and in the world. So, ask yourself, what assumptions are you carrying right now? Do you assume people don't want to hear you, that you're not ready, that you have to wait your turn? These assumptions don't sit quietly. They lead you, they define you, they limit you, and worst of all, they fulfill themselves. The man who assumes he will lose, loses. Not because of fate, but because he plays not to win, only to avoid pain. But the man who assumes victory before the game begins, he moves with clarity, he acts with confidence, he speaks with conviction, and slowly, inevitably, the world accepts his belief as fact. You don't wait for permission to act powerful. You act powerful, and the permission follows. You don't wait for people to recognize your value. You move like your value is already understood. And no, this isn't arrogance. It's conviction. Conviction in your voice. Conviction in your right to speak. Conviction in your place, regardless of where you stand today. This is the difference between the ruler and the ruled. The ruler doesn't wait for proof. He decides who he is, and the world adapts. Your identity isn't waiting to be discovered. It's waiting to be declared. Every time you enter a room, speak, make eye contact, or hesitate, you're sending a message. And that message comes straight from what you assume. So I'll ask you, what are you assuming right now? That people don't respect you? That power is for others? That you're not ready? Then you're right, because you've already begun acting it out. But if you assume that you are the best, that you're destined to lead, that you don't need permission, just presence, then something begins to shift. Your voice deepens, your posture strengthens, your eyes stop searching for approval, and people feel it, not because they know your story, but because they feel your certainty. And in a world full of confusion, certainty is magnetic, certainty is power, certainty is unbeatable. You don't become powerful by accident. You become powerful by believing it, long before the world does. And when that belief hardens into presence, you become untouchable. You've wondered why the world overlooks you, why power seems to slip away, even when you work hard, even when you follow the rules. But the truth is brutal. The world doesn't reward effort. It rewards presence. It rewards certainty. It rewards belief backed by action. So, now you understand. Act as if you were the best, not to prove it, but because no one will believe it until you do. Carry yourself like no one is above you, not to belittle others, but to claim the respect you already deserve. Kill the disease of self-doubt. Assume your power. Wear your confidence like a crown, and move like a man who knows this game belongs to him. Because once you stop apologizing, once you stop asking for permission, once you stop waiting to become enough, that's when the world begins to kneel. Not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Power is not granted, it is assumed, and those who dare to assume it rule. So I'll ask you one last time, who are you going to be the moment this ends? The man who waits, hesitates, hopes, or the man who walks like he already is the best, because deep down, he knows. There is no one better. The answer decides everything.